Happy Saturday, and welcome to the Ram Ashram Satsang Weekend Workshop, where you'll learn a modern Satsang technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. My name is Eddie, and I will be introducing the facilitator for today's event. But first, I'd like to give a brief introduction to this weekend workshop. If you'll direct your attention towards your screen, you'll see that the first element is Satsang. Satsang is a scientific technique for obtaining peace, light, and love in your life. It requires no physical skill, spiritual accomplishment, or meditation experience to begin its practice. Satsang consists of two words, Sat and Sang. Sat means positive energy, and Sang means to be with or to be in the presence of. Therefore, the word Satsang means to be in the presence of positive energy. The next element is meditation. Meditation is an important element of Satsang. When we meditate, we withdraw our consciousness from worldly objects and direct it inwards and focus on a single thought. Thereby, our minds become calm and our thoughts become pure, allowing us to obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. Inner orientation. There are two types of satsang, inner satsang and outer satsang. An example of outer satsang would be chanting or attending pilgrimages. When we practice outer satsang, we have the potential to change our behavior. But it is only through the practice of inner satsang that we can obtain higher states of consciousness, such as enlightenment, peace, light, and love. The satsang that you will learn today is an inner satsang, where we meditate in silence. Group session. This weekend workshop is structured for group participation. When we meditate as a group, our focus is improved and our progress along our spiritual path is expedited. By regularly attending these weekend workshops, the benefits of group participation are amplified. Joy and inner happiness. Joy is the eternal longing of the soul. All beings wish to experience joy, but it is only through the practice of inner satsang that we are able to obtain higher states of consciousness and experience states like joy. Each time we practice satsang, our inner happiness gradually increases, ultimately culminating in a joyous state which we experience 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Agenda. The agenda for today consists of 3 sessions: the informative session, the practice session, and the interactive session. During the informative session, a lecture will be given about a satsang topic the founder, or some relevant spiritual topic. During the practice session, instruction will be given on how to meditate, followed by a period of practice. During the interactive session, you have the opportunity to ask questions, or there'll be a panel discussion. And now, I'd like to introduce the facilitator for today's event. He has over 40 years of satsang experience. He was born into a satsang family where he experienced his family members obtain enlightenment and lead lives of peace, light, and love. At an early age, he began traveling with the mission throughout India, conducting satsang. And upon arriving here in the United States, both he and his wife continued to hold satsang for local satsangees. During that time, he has worked with teams of satsang members to translate important satsang literature into English. He has also strived to clarify the meanings of yoga, satsang, and guru so that all who participate in Ram Ashram Satsang may have a better experience. It is because of his efforts that we are able to participate in this weekend workshop. He currently travels throughout India and the United States conducting satsang. Today, he will teach us a rare and ancient form of satsang as taught by Guru Maharaj. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Sanjeev Kumarji.
So happy Saturday, everyone. Glad to be here. And today is a very, very special satsang. Let me just put it that way. I think about a week and a half back, there was my Guru Maharaj's Guru's birthday. It's also Basant Panchami, which is already in India, it's celebrated as a festival of flowers. But interestingly, in ancient times, Basant Panchami was also a day where new recruits will go into the guru's ashram or gurukul. So that was like their start of their, learning. And for some reason in my head all celebrations here or events kind of move into the weekend in person or online. Right now it's online, but this shifted one more week for some reason or the other, mostly me. But with me, I always feel that I kind of re-register for the whole new year on Basant Panchami. And I try to see if we can initiate a whole new process. And this year, I'm thinking of starting a intense 5-week online course, which will introduce one with satsang, and so that's in the making. I wish it was kicked off today, but very soon. Working on that. But today I'm extremely excited to have what I would call a priceless treasure. And what would that be is out of the 28 chapters, the 18th chapter in Guru Maharaj's 7-volume book, which talks about his spiritual journey or anybody's spiritual journey, talks about lots of different concepts. The 18th chapter is about the mysteries of peace. Yeah, mysteries of peace. So let's dive into it today. I'll forewarn it's going to be a little longer session because I want to get into this subject, and I'm kind of preparing for an in-person session in March, and then followed up by a couple of sessions abroad in April. So worry and anxiety. Let's break this down. So let's break this down, right? So people under stress experience mental and physical symptoms, such as irritability, anger, fatigue, muscle pain, digestive problems, difficulty in sleeping. And while stress is necessary for us to do a lot of things, but if we don't control it, all these things appear, right? And then if we talk about anxiety, anxiety could be defined as persistent, excessive worries that don't go away, even in the absence of the stressor that would be causing that. So if we look at the National Institute of Mental Health data, 31% of Americans experience an anxiety disorder during their lifetime. And I was, I have a hereditary heart related stuff. And I was talking to a doctor in India at one point. He said, stress is now, such a common, it's an epidemic, right? So if we go back to the data, it's like one of the most common anxiety disorders in all the disorders would be the anxiety disorder. To identify if someone has generalized anxiety disorder, a clinician will look for symptoms such as excessive, hard to control worry, occurring most days over 6 months, and the worry may jump from topic to topic. So generalized anxiety disorder is accompanied by lots of these physical symptoms we talked about earlier. So, this this chapter that Guru Maharaj wrote, so first it talks about peace, and then it says worry is the biggest challenge in terms of getting to peace. So first let's define peace a little bit. So Yuan, if you could bring that definition. So Guru Maharaj defines peace as a place where good and bad desires are not there. And then he adds, a place where there is no emotional upheaval caused by these desires being fulfilled or not. So that would be the state of peace. For example, anger caused by a desire not being fulfilled could shatter your inner peace, or it could be some happiness or sadness caused by fulfilled or unfulfilled desire. It could be love or hate that may take over. So basically going beyond the land of desires and emotions is the land of peace. So when you are able to succeed in achieving what you desire, there is a resulting happiness. And the opposite, when you don't get it, there is unhappiness. So unhappiness takes over when we are not able to achieve what is desired. Sometimes anger, envy, sadness, they all come along with this unhappiness. So Guru Maharaj talks about getting to a place where there is no good or bad desires. And that is where there will be no emotional upheaval caused by this oscillation between happiness and unhappiness, love or hate, lust or indifference, anger and calm, and so on and so forth. The place which is devoid of this vicious cycle is the place of peace. So, and he adds, this is the state of real happiness. He goes further, says that once you get to that place, that is nothing but enlightenment itself. Every person at the bottom of their heart is basically looking for peace because it's our natural instinct, natural characteristics. Most of us are looking for peace, and we make a lot of effort, work towards that, but unfortunately, very few actually get to it. So how ironic is that? If peace is so elusive, then obviously there must be several challenges and hurdles in that path. So Guru Maharaj says, not many actually decide to pursue peace, and those who make up their mind and decide to walk towards peace find themselves struggling through these challenges, hurdles, and inner and outer demons. In one of his books, Guru Maharaj documents 12 hurdles or challenges, which will be a topic of another session. But what he quickly goes down to say, of all the challenges, worry and anxiety is basically they top it all. So of all the challenges and hurdles in the pursuit of peace, worst of them all is worry. So Yuan, I think we have two definitions here. So Guru Maharaj defines worry as a non-stop cycle of thoughts that without changing and without getting to any conclusion keep going on, like almost in a vicious cycle. So, and later on he says, like, that cycle, when you lose control of, that just becomes anxiety, right? The next one. So I also looked up, so NIH kind of defines worry as typically concerns future events whose outcomes are uncertain, but contain the possibility of one or more negative outcomes. So, so I'll write up this, it also talks about worry is a primary cognitive characteristic of anxiety and has been described as a chain of thoughts and images, negatively affect-laden and relatively uncontrollable. So he further goes and says, getting out of the clutches of worry. So getting out of the clutches of worry is peace. Worry is bondage. Worry is misery. Worry is a strong force that creates turmoil in the heart. One who is free of worry is really free. And hence, that's the top of the pyramid. The person at peace lives in the present moment and doesn't get caught up in the past or the future. So, so then he goes deeper. So Guru Maharaj's approach was to orient people towards getting to the land of peace. His primary focus was to make sure that there is an approach that guarantees peace, if practiced properly. So that's the key there. So he referred to. So basically, he conceptualized that and referred to that as satsang. He researched it, refined it, made it practical for busy lifestyles. It leverages meditation, service, mentoring, and it's, according to him, it's a shortcut that he prescribed to observe and follow a role model, as the state of peace is very infectious at the top of the pyramid. So once at the top of the pyramid, you are at peace, and everybody who comes in your contact would be at peace. So there is no effort on anybody's part. This is hard to believe for people who are struggling to figure out where peace is, and also for those who are making tons of effort. But this is how simple and powerful systems work. It's incredible and truly incredible. The unique thing about his approach is how he pulled together the practical ways to get people to progress towards peace and get them there sooner rather than later. His entire focus, so his entire, and I'll go into some more details. It'll take a little more time today, but how his process actually tackles, some of the nitty gritty, in tackling worry is what we'll discuss further. So just by meditating, we can physically and mentally and spiritually connect with peace, even if, so even if you're a beginner, even if you're not that heavy duty into it, even for a brief moment, if you connect with it, that just, and then expand that further. So if we summarize what we just heard so far, first, we need to understand that where there are no good or bad desires, that's the land of peace. Second, these desires result in an upheaval of emotions. When you are able to succeed in achieving what you desire, then there is a resulting happiness, and the opposite is true too. So unhappiness takes over when we are not able to achieve what is desired. So basically, going beyond the land of desires and emotions is the land of peace. Now, worry is the biggest problem. It attracts the mind and distracts it, and it affects your body, your mind, your brain, your self-confidence, your image. So getting rid of worry is the key. So worry is bondage. Worry is unhappy state. Guru Maharaj, as we just saw, described it as a non-stop cycle of thoughts, and thoughts that without changing, without getting to any conclusion, keep going on and on. So the problem here is that we lose control of this cycle, this, constant barrage of thoughts. We get stuck in the future sometimes, or sometimes in the past. Worry or fear of things that could happen in the future, or things that happened in the past, keep coming back. And so the question, so we can go on, and in this chapter, he really breaks it down. So then, if let's say, let me, this is a few more words. So if we try to remove some of this barrage, then there is an internal reaction. And because of the internal reaction, it takes even more intense. It becomes even more intense, and not only while we are awake, it goes into our dream states. It then even enters in our meditative states, and it starts affecting our deeper meditation. So your mind, your body, your thought processes, all are now under like attack, or a strong emotional wave that's just swaying everything. Like then he gives an example, like sometimes, if you recall, when you are in love, there is like almost like there is an intense wave that sways you or sweeps you away. Similarly, so it could be a barrage of positive thoughts and mostly, a barrage of fearful thoughts, events, or situations that could occupy your mind in this way and then make us so very disturbed. And that's the complete opposite to being at peace. So what do we do? Right? So let's bring the solution slide here, right? So I'll talk to that a little bit. So what he says is that if you are, getting overly anxious and these barrage of thoughts are nonstop, so first thing you could do is to create an alternate pathway. So what does that mean? So basically distract yourself, right? So my father used to give an example that when, while creating a dam or on a river, engineers first create a canal. So as an alternate path for the water of the river, so it reduces the pressure while they're working on the dam. So basically, the water is flowing through, you create a canal, the water starts flowing there, and then you work on this dam. And once the dam is created, there is so much force there that the turbines could, so the flowing water has its own value, but this concentrated, pressure and force that is created through the dam could illuminate the whole city with the energy that's created. So, but anyway, here we are talking about, there is, the mind is getting occupied, find some alternate. So, start thinking about one of the best vacations you took. You start thinking about, some of the good things. So create an alternate pathway. So, and then he actually quotes some scriptures and all that, and taking an alternate thought and diverting your attention is one of the solutions. Now, the next one is to take a completely opposite and strong force to tackle this. So better than the alternate pathways, find something that is completely opposite. So if you're under attack with a very negative energy, bring positive energy, bring a very positive thought. And that's why all the religions believe in God, that, take the most positive thought and start thinking about that. So let's say you're dealing with fear. Identify what would be the most opposite of that fear, a very strong positive thought that you replace this negative thought with a completely opposite and strong positive energy. So that's how, basically, how do we become one without fear? It's like, if I had someone behind my back who is very, 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 very strong, and I always feel that presence, and I'm in the presence of this transcendental energy, I always feel I am, strong, I am positive, I'm being uplifted, right? So he says that's your second solution, where you have to figure out for yourself what is the strongest positive thought or belief that you want to take to counter all the things that are affecting your peace. Then eventually get up every morning and for 5 minutes, just become a magnet for this positive thought. To just absolutely and totally in that thought alone, period. So Guru Maharaj gives an example. Let's say there is something very dire going on, and there is a situation that just makes thinking positively an almost impossible task. He says, think of it completely upside down. Like when there is a huge problem going on, think about how the doctors operate on someone, and that's a trauma to the body, but that trauma heals the body. So similarly, think of the current situation in those terms. Turn your thought processes positive, even in the most negative circumstances. Okay. So then, and he says that people would say, oh, I can't do this and I can't do this. So instead of backing down, he says the real solution. So let's go back to the solution slide. The real solution is to live in the present moment. So why? Because if I'm not thinking about the past, if I'm not worried about the future, that is when I'm living in the present moment, right? Just hold on a second. While I was talking about peace, my dogs decided to take the opportunity to, just bark. And so anyway, so living in the present moment, so think it's almost like when going gets tough, it's said, right? The tough get going. So increasing the tolerance is the key. And so if we somehow figure out how do we live in present moment, so all of the above, you can do if you have some control on your mind. So Maharishi Patanjali talks about that. So he says, Yogash Chit Vritti Nirodha. So Chit, which is the subconscious mind or the unconscious mind. So think of the vibration that eventually becomes the thought, comes from the unconscious or subconscious mind. The thought process is in the mind, but the trigger is deeper in the unconscious or the subconscious. When we stop that triggering, that is when we achieve yoga or the target state of satsang. That is real peace. That is real happiness. So mind has the willpower, the subconscious mind has the thought power, and the brain has memory and decision-making and the knowledge. And so we all have these capabilities, but somehow the mind seems to overpower the rest of our faculties and then creates this imbalance within us. So, so think of these meditative methods are required to enable our dormant mental capabilities. So another interesting point is that we have little control on our mind itself. So think about, like, we don't have any direct control on the subconscious mind. So, so sometimes I think that those who think that they can get to peace without some meditative practices, I would say, yeah, if you know some way to reprogram your subconscious mind, go ahead. But over the, over the history, what has proven to get us to the peaceful state of mind is dharana, dhyana, and samadhi, right? Part of the Ashtanga Yoga. So dharana is concentrating on one thing rather than getting impacted by these barrage of thoughts. And so concentrate on one thing alone. And so this in itself, just concentrating on one thing would take you to a better place, more peaceful place. But Maharishi Patanjali and Guru Maharaj say that this is just one step. Concentration, or what you're imagining, what you want to manifest, this is just step one. So meditation is not concentration. So people who just put the music on or just start chanting, they're preparing for meditation at least in the beginning stage. So that is like meditation is beyond that. It's beyond concentration. When there is nothing, where there is no thought, where there is not even the initiation of desire, there is no work. That's where there is no work. So, then at that place, there is no happiness, there is no sadness. And that is what Maharishi Patanjali calls meditation. And now if you will, I'll get off my soapbox now and let's look at these solutions, right? Creating an alternate pathway, finding a complete opposite and strong force, living in the present moment, controlling your mind. All of these things are combined into the meditation that we will do now. So it basically, elsewhere, Guru Maharaj says that, his guru and then he followed that, felt that transcendental energy, the light, it's a universal force. Universal acceptance from even all religions, so he focus on that universal concept. It's a strong and opposite force to anything negative, positive, uplifting, transcendental energy. Let's focus on that. And when you do that, you feel that presence. And the way, Guru Maharaj pulled all this together is like you will automatically, so he basically had this transition in, elaborate transition out. So, and then 15, 20, 30 minutes of deep meditation, which then actually not only it helps control your mind, it helps you to stay in present moment. It brings this completely opposite of any negative energy in your life for that moment. And then slowly, it pervades through your day, your life essentially. So he basically created this approach where simple, throughout when I was growing up, people from villages, people who have not read scriptures and stuff like that, he would tell them how to sit down and just, get advantage of all this and tackle the worry and anxiety and stress in their lives. So that's what we'll practice now. And we are so fortunate to have this process as one of the tools that can tackle worry and anxiety in our lives. So basically, number one, first sit in a relaxed posture, eyes lightly closed. Think of this transcendental energy, uplifting, positive force that's, this energy, this light in form of light is around us. It's, with us right now. And then it is entering into our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. So we are becoming that energy. We are becoming stronger. We're uplifting ourselves, and we are becoming that energy. So I'll repeat it again. All we have to manifest, all we have to imagine, all we have to feel is that we are in this transcendental presence of this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming one with this light. So we'll start with music, and then we'll go into deep meditation. Mind will wander away. We bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that we are in the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light that's entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, or we are becoming one with this light. Let's start now. We are already on the top of the hour, so I would still like to get some questions and comments and observations on today's topic. So happy Saturday, everyone. And Luz and Eddie, I'll start with you. And Kelly, I don't know if you have mic today or not, but I would definitely appreciate any comments or thoughts from you as well before I open up for some of the other folks. So Luz or Eddie, who would go first? I think Luz has the hand raised.
Happy Saturday, everyone. Always great to meditate with you. So I was listening very intently when you were going through like the solutions, but I think I was thinking, oh, sorry. I was thinking of whether you could give me another example of the first one, because the first one and the second one I feel like are similar. So
They are
I
very
know
similar.
how, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
could you,
No, so think of it this way. I am, let's say I'm very, very, very fearful right now because of blah, blah, blah reasons, right? One option I have is I actually do this sometimes. I'll start watching a movie, right? I start listening to some really nice music that I like, right? Or if I'm in daydreaming mode, I'll go to a beach. Wherever I am, doesn't matter, right? That is not doing the second thing, which is I'm very fearful, but now I picked up my strongest, most positive belief that I ever have, which is, I am in the presence of this positive, uplifting, and extremely powerful presence where I feel everything else is secondary or tertiary or doesn't even exist. Like I am thinking of the top of the pyramid while I might be at the bottom, and I feel I'm there, right? And make it stronger and stronger and stronger. And you manifest something, it'll happen, right? So, so there is a subtle but significant difference between the two. One is a distraction. The other one is taking it head on in a way that you create a equal or much greater opposite force to what is coming at you.
that makes sense. Yes, thank you.
So I was this is a my grandfather used to, I think he used to go for a walk with his guru, get inspired, then he used to write, and his writing is more inspirational than, I mean, there is structure, there is all that, but that was secondary. So he is like in free flow. So I've probably read this 18th chapter umpteen number of times, but when I started, I don't know, I was trying to write this inner peace booklet, and then I started like looking at, okay, so where are these solutions? And then I found like, okay, this is one technique he talks about, then he talks about the next technique, then he talks about the third one, then he talks about the fourth one. And then all of this, all the four, he has combined into his practice. So that was like a eureka moment.
Yeah. This is helpful. Thank you, Sanjay.
Yeah, it's like that one chapter out of everything else that goes around his practices and philosophies and thoughts, and this one chapter kind of brings why why light, why transcendental energy, um, why do we see. One question always comes is like, I have started thinking that through this practice, you can become a better human being, a better Christian, a better Hindu, a better Muslim, whatever, right? Because if you start, utilizing some of these techniques, you will have a better connection, better feeling of presence. You will energize yourself in ways that you had never done before. And that gives you inner strength that will make you, I always feel it's like better human being is what we should always target. All right, Eddie. So this, I think I would like to sit with you all and refine till it, it shapes up in a nice way, because, and this was a passing thought, and with all humility, I felt that if Guru Maharaj came in today and had to describe his chapter 18 in English, how would he do that? Yeah. So yeah, Eddie.
Okay. Yeah. This was a good lecture and an introduction to how to obtain a peaceful state. There's two things sort of that popped out to me, and that was, how you mentioned to create a diversion. We all have these, well, I hope, and I'm pretty sure we do have these past experiences where we've had a lot of joy in our lives. We've experienced some joy and some happiness with a person, or visiting a place or something like that. And those are helpful forms of distraction. If we could just recall those, it move us away from the state of worry and anxiety, and puts us back in that place where we were happy and joyous. Like I said, it could be an experience that you shared with someone, or it could be a peaceful place that you visit. And that's, I think, a very helpful form of distraction. The second thing that popped out to me was this idea of cleansing, right? When we get these events or these triggers that enter our subconscious mind, it attracts those, the samskars, if you will, those subtle vibrations that end up turning into our thoughts. And as we, experience those through anxiety, and we think about those things through worrying, they become even stronger. As they become stronger, they become the predominant vibrations, and therefore influence our predominant thoughts. And so we become more anxious, we worry more. But this process, what it does is, in the long run, is it cleanses those samskara, those subtle vibrations away. Each time you practice, this is happening. And so you get to a state to where you don't even experience that anymore. You don't experience those, those negative or bad samskara rising up, which then, get transmitted through your limbic system and causes the emotional and behavioral reactions that are associated with anxiety. So this process, this meditation, this satsang does that. It cleanses. It literally does. So, it's the best medication you can take in that sense. And then, I guess a third thing in addition to that is being able to obtain these higher states of consciousness, because once we go into the realm of knowledge, we're now above the realm of mind, the realm of worlds, the realm of life. They no longer affect us, right? We're at this higher state. Mind is not an issue anymore. And if we can hold our consciousness there, we simply don't experience that anxiety and worry anymore. And again, that happens in a natural way through this process that occurs in satsang. So, I mean, you pointed out all these things, and I just sort of reiterated them, try to clarify them a little bit. But all those things, all of those solutions are contained, like you said, in this practice, in this satsang. So, I guess I would sum up by saying, just realize that through your practice, that you will become this calmer person, you will become this more peaceful person, and that will, obviously lead to a better, more enjoyable and joyous life.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. It's another thing, you talked about vibrations, and I was just thinking about, like, it was already a long session, then why further stretch it? And I just wanted to say that one topic that I'm thinking about is how we underestimate silence. And similarly, I think one topic would be how we underestimate the transition out of meditation, because it's so interestingly, so I'm doing yoga with a very good instructor these days, and he starts and ends the session with a couple of chants, mantras. And then he says, okay, keep your eyes closed and feel the vibration. And I would normally wouldn't, and when he says that, then you do that, and then you realize that, yeah, there is something after the mantra, after the chanting, there is this vibration and it feels good. So it's like after the meditation, staying within the collective, within the group, trying to further absorb that energy or let it sink in, I think is another underestimated and undervalued. Anyway, so now, another few minutes, I would say. Kelly, any specific thoughts, questions, if you want to share? But Shivangi, Akanksha, Himanshu, Onkar. Oh, actually, Arvindji is here too. I didn't realize.
Namaskar, bhaiya. Sabko namaskar.
Namaskar.
I was just going to say that thank you so much for bringing this blissful, peaceful, transcendental energy into our lives. The example I was thinking was like, if you've had a really hot enchilada or chili, really, really hot, and somebody gives you Rocky Road ice cream or vanilla ice cream, how does one describe, the grace? So thank you and happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. So Shivangi, what's the word?
Namaste, Bhaiyaji. Namaste, everyone.
Namaskar.
I'm good. No work here today.
So it all went overboard?
No. No, definitely not. Definitely not. Some really good ideas presented today. I think we can all I can use this. I had a tough week, so um,
Cool. So Onkar, Himanshu, or Akanksha?
Really good session. Quite peaceful. Generally, I keep looking at the WhatsApps, and managing the session, but somehow I managed to close my eyes for 5 minutes, so I felt really good. So,
Yeah, being the organizer. So Yuan, thank you again, Himanshu, Onkar. So Onkar, what's
Namaste, Bhaiya. Namaste, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me. So,
yeah.
I have nothing to say. I am just enjoying the moment. That's what it is. And I'm not in a condition or would like to speak because of that bliss.
Bliss. Wow. Heavy duty stuff. All right. So Akanksha, any question or we can always talk later. So anybody else before we wrap up? So maybe Eddie or Liz, any wrap-up thoughts?
No, Sanjeevji, I don't have anything to add.
I don't either, but I do want to know about your intended March retreat. So where will you post that information?
Yeah, so for some reason, I was thinking about talking about, we want to do that, and I want to do it somewhere in Tysons or Fairfax area. Is there a day that will work for you?
Wow, let's see. I wouldn't want you to really schedule it around my schedule, but
So think about the Saturday, Sundays, early March. I'm still working out my schedule, so I'll be traveling a bit end of March, and so I'm actually having a session most probably in India and then in UK in early April. February also I'm traveling a bit. So March I think would be a good time. So
maybe the weekend of either the very last weekend of March or like the 17th or 18th of March.
18th would work. Yeah. So why don't we target 18th? So Himanshu and Onkar and Shivangi, let's target that, and let's have a in-person session. Let's see.
That would be so great.
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
yeah, me too. It's slowly, I think once in a quarter we should at least start something, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay, I have it in my calendar.
Yeah, what we're thinking, and this is still a concept, is like somewhere around Richmond, here in Northern Virginia, Tysons area, and Philadelphia, or suburbs of Philadelphia. Those three, we want to kind of develop like a rhythm there. Let's see if we can create that. That's one thought that's going on. All right. Very good. Really happy to see you all here. Have a great week ahead, and happy Saturday and happy week ahead. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Thank you, Sanjeev ji. Have a good weekend, everyone.
You too. Thank you.
Namaste, Bhaiya ji. Namaste, everyone.
Namaskar.
Namaste, Bhaiya. Thank you, everyone.